First time live in a while, I think, a couple weeks at least, but we're back focusing more on Dynasty. We have divisional round of the playoffs. Everyone says it's the best weekend of the season. I don't know if that's true. I mean, week one is pretty nice too, but I get it. Should be the 8 best teams, probably the 8 best teams playing each other. So, but we're here talking Dynasty. If you have any questions, Dynasty stuff, you can leave it in the chat. We are doing a couple team reviews. We have a hard out. This is only an hour long. We will be trying to do this every Saturday and once or twice throughout the week as well. But we're reviewing a couple teams, giving our opinions on them. But if you do have any Dynasty questions, leave them in and we'll try and get to them. And we are reviewing Down with Fun's team. So he is here. Happy Saturday to you. And it's good that you're here because you can kind of answer some questions about stuff that we have. But I do really quick, I'm going to start off with a trade that was posted in our Discord a while back. And I'm curious what side you guys would prefer here. It's Ladd McConkey in the 106 in this upcoming draft or Nico Collins in the 2026 second. No idea where that second would be, but we'll just assume it's mid. Any idea? This is a 12-team PPR Superflex. Start 11, so it's a little bit deeper than just a start 12 or a 10. So do you guys have a lead on which side you would take?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, go ahead, Dad.
Yeah, okay. The McConkey in the first rounder, I think the first rounder is definitely the cherry on top here. So, McConkey's numbers, I know Nico's pretty good, and I think I don't know their numbers right off the top, but especially going into year 2 now, after you've gotten through your rookie season looking pretty good, and obviously they're going to be throwing the ball to you a lot. That and the first rounder, I think, is really good trade.
Yeah. Brian, do you have a lead?
Yeah, the PPR definitely helps McConkey's case. Like, I do think he will only get better, but I kind of lean the Nico side. Well, the start 11 kind of makes it, the depth a little more important, but I don't know. It's a little rough. It's hard without the context of the team, I guess. But I mean, just based on the 106, seems like they're kind of middle of the pack on the McConkey side. So
maybe I don't know if I don't know who Russell pick. G is. If that's even part of it. I mean, Nico obviously has more upside than McConkey, but I would take the McConkey 106. Yeah, you're getting 2 starters for one, essentially. Maybe the 2026 second turns into one, but so 2 starters in a start 11 is important. And I just think there's more flexibility, obviously, with the 106 to trade. Thought it was interesting. I think it was voted five people voted for the A side and no one voted for B side. So everyone was on the McConkey side. Maybe it's a little bit a prisoner of the moment type of thing. But like I said, we're here to review some teams. We're reviewing 2 teams today, and Dynasty teams, that is. And we're going to start off with Down with Fun's team here. And let me share this with you guys first so you can see kind of his team. Using Dynasty Daddy / Keep Trade Cut just to kind of look at the entire league here. A good day to Dynasty is his team name. It is a 12-team Superflex, half PPR, and then they're moving to a half point for tight end premium. Start 10, and then they do have defense, but we're probably not going to focus too much on that. It's been around since 2016, so this is a pretty long Dynasty league, assuming it's been Dynasty that whole time. And he's a contending team. He doesn't have any of his picks in 2025, only has his 4th-round pick in 2026. He got 3rd place this last year despite losing McCaffrey, Kamara at the end, Puka at times, Godwin, Tank Dell. He had a lot of injuries here, Nick Chubb. So the fact that he finished third was still impressive. So we're going to kind of go position by position to start and just give our quick thoughts on, you can give it a grade, you can give it whatever, but starting off with the quarterbacks, I mean, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Penix, that's like a A++ there. That's your bread and butter right there. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say.
Not much. Just I know you could. Did you mention that he doesn't have any draft capital?
Yeah, I did mention that.
Okay.
It was just the quarterbacks. I mean, when you have these two guys, like you got to compete, right? You got to push for it. You don't hold on to these guys and rebuild essentially, and they can win you weeks kind of by themselves. So, running backs, we have McCaffrey, Kamara, Dobbins, Dowdle, Chubb, and then some other guys that have maybe flex stuff. Isaiah Davis is a backup. Justice Hill at times, maybe you can get in there. Brian, overall thoughts on the running back room that, Keep Trade Cut or Dynasty Daddy, they kind of rank it as the fifth best in the league. So do you kind of agree with that? Do you have some worries there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot of guys that are aging, but they're also guys that we've seen be amazing,
Mm-hmm.
It's going to depend a lot on like what McCaffrey and who's already saying like he's fully healthy, for next year. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
thanks,
Yeah.
Kamara's obviously aging also. We don't know what Chubb's status going into next year. And a couple of guys, like we were talking before we started, like we don't know if we're going to be the starters, but they obviously they should be the 1As on their team, most likely if they stay put with Dobbins and Dowdle. So I like it.
Both free agents, by the way.
Yeah. If they stay, I think they've earned kind of at least the shot at a starting role. And I'm kind of curious to see if the Cowboys kind of get back to what they were in a few previous years, if Dowdle's more involved from the beginning, and similar to Dobbins too, like I think they could be definitely RB2s. So I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I could see this room.
Broken heart too, down with fun.
Yeah. I kind of see this running back room, and I could see it like just going south very quickly with the two older players. I still think they're going to be good next year, which is fine, but they are older. And like, I personally don't think Dobbins and Dowdle are going to be starters next year. Like at best, they're going to be that second back. I don't even think they're going to be potentially 1A, 1B. It's going to depend on where they go, of course, but I just don't, with the running backs that are coming in to this, with this draft class, like, I don't think they're fine players, and if you give them work, they're going to put up production, but they're not like difference makers at the running back position just for NFL teams, in my opinion. So I think there's a good chance like both those guys are going to not be the starters this year. So I think
you don't think they have to get outplayed by a rookie? We're not going to fall into the I'm not saying these guys were Ken Walker, but we're not going to fall into the Zach Charbonnet thing again, where it's like, like they played well enough for their teams, and so they kind of need to lose their job. Or are you saying you think it's likely they'll lose their job, or you don't think that's the case? Like the talent.
I mean, if they were coming back to the same team, sure, maybe, but there's a good chance they don't. And also, I feel like with this running back class coming in, it's going to teams are not going to pay free agent running backs as much, knowing how deep this running back draft class is. I think that's why a lot of guys got paid last year more than we've seen, is because we knew the running back class coming in was bad. And so people just said, all right, well, there's a good free agent market of running backs. I'm just going to pay the guy here. Whereas it might work the other way here. So you might not have a big investment in them. So that does worry me.
Well,
overall.
I think
Real quick, and then I'll let you go, Dad. I guess my point is, if someone's still going to value Rico and Dobbins as like a starter, and they're going to trade you enough, early to mid second for one of them, I think I would just take it, cash out, and bank on, take the safer bet of like them not being starters, and then kind of finding your replacement in the draft. So, go ahead, Dad.
no, a second rounder that'd be like a Christmas present. So that would be very good. So I would definitely do that too. I just don't think, we got caught in a little bit of a trap this last year with the rookie running backs. Was it Brooks and who was the other guy? I mean, they both
Frank Benson.
Yeah, they both didn't do anything. So anybody who's getting drafted, it's kind of like they're prospects, like they call them in baseball and stuff like that. And we don't know. I mean, so you got to hit on the right guy. And sometimes that doesn't happen until October, November. And by that time, your fantasy season is kind of toast. So, I wouldn't be so quick to jettison these guys. I think Dobbins has enough. I'm sorry, he's had enough. Both those guys are gonna be playing somewhere next year.
Yeah.
Let's make it that easy. The thing is, do they get enough volume to make them worthwhile? And
yeah, I think the idea of getting a second, because like if you knew they were going to be starters next year, I think a second's too cheap, right? So it's kind of like that good middle ground of like you're limiting the risk of them not being there. Like Rico Dowdle's going to be 27 years old heading into next year. Like who's going to pay him a bunch of money? It's probably going to be a 1-year contract, not a bunch of money. He's 27. Dobbins just turned 26. Just kind of funny. You'd think Rico's younger just because we've been hearing about Dobbins for a while. But I do want to get to the receivers here. And then we can kind of circle back if we need to. But Puka, Zay Flowers, pretty good. I mean, Puka is obviously awesome. Zay Flowers, okay. It's tough to know, like, what's his upside. Chris Godwin, he's a free agent coming off an injury. Tank Dell might not play next year. The receiver room, to me, I mean, he does have guys like Ridley. I still think could be. To me, Ridley is in contention to be his wide receiver too. Christian Watson hit towards ACL and
another big injury.
Yeah, kind of tough here with the wide receivers, he has to start 2, but he can start up to 5 in this league, 6 in this league technically with the super flex. So, well, how are we thinking? Just overall, like a grade, I guess, if you just want to give a grade to these receivers, Brian, do you have what grade would you give them?
I mean, it's obviously very top heavy, and I mean, going into next year is kind of the hard part, right? With you're not going to have Dell most likely, so I mean, it kind of ends. You basically have 4 starters, and you're not going to have Watson either. Not that you could reliably start him much this year, anyways. Whatever. That makes me sad too. But I mean, it's basically Puka, Flowers, and Godwin, Ridley. The other guys are all kind of not necessarily dart throws, but you don't know when Quentin Johnston's ever gonna have a good game, which he is capable of somehow, even though he can't catch. So it's a little rough, it's a little shaky, but it's obviously nice to have kind of those at least the top 2 guys. I mean, Ridley, we don't even know if who's his quarterback's gonna be, Yeah. So that's a little rough. So yeah, it's sorry, I don't want to jump to the end, but it's a little rough to like really know, like, are you contending or not? Like, you kind of have to like pick a lane and at least kind of ride it out for 4 to 6 weeks, I guess.
Yeah,
see what happens.
It is tough. I mean, there's some other guys like Malik Washington, Whittington. Maybe they can do something, but Yeah, it's an interesting one. I do want to move on just because we do have another one to get to, and I want to get to some trade ideas and stuff. He is moving to a tight end premium. What I'll say about this, and this is for anyone watching, by the way, if you are watching, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you're interested in getting your team reviewed, your Dynasty team, we will happily do that. Join our Discord. I'll leave the link in the chat here. Get in there. We'll put together some leagues, answer your questions, and we'll set up some potential team reviews as well. So what I'll say about the tight end premium is I don't think it's enough of a premium to really matter. Like, I still think tight ends are just tight ends. You need a +1 or 3 times the amount of points that you're getting for everyone else. So if it's a half PPR, if the tight ends are getting 1.5, then that to me is like a difference maker. If they're only getting 1 and everyone else is getting half, like, it's not really a big difference maker. So keep that in mind. Like, I would, because I do think people are going to assume, oh my God, tight end premium, especially because you're moving to it. So it's new for everyone. They're going to think, oh my God, like, I need a lot of tight ends. And I would hit on that. Like, if Kelsey retires, I would look to be trading Noah Gray right away. If Zach Ertz is off the Commanders and Ben Sinnott's getting hype, I would look to trade him right away. Goddard's ranked low enough where I don't think there's interest. I'm fine with just starting Goddard in a tight end premium. So keep that in mind with those tight ends. Like, really do kind of play off of this, because it's only a half a point more. It really doesn't make a big difference. Tight ends are still tight ends. So I would be selling high on those guys when the time comes. So the questions with Michael Penix, he's talking about, this is his big trade chip, because everyone else, he wants to compete and he kind of needs to start. Penix is a guy where he's not starting him over Lamar or Josh Allen unless they're on bye, right? Or injured, of course. But Penix is his only QB3 really heading into the year. We don't know about Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. Well, I guess the question is, would we be trading Penix, and what would we expect in return? Are we expecting multiple firsts? Are we expecting a high first and a player? Is there any team in particular you would target? First of all, would you be trading Penix knowing he's kind of your only QB3? Was that something that you would potentially do? Either one of you can start.
Well, yeah, I just want to pipe in. Yeah, I would consider it, but things have to line up pretty good. Like, maybe in that trade, maybe in your return, you get a QB3 back. So maybe you get a number 1 first rounder and a possible QB3 back. So you guys, I know you two guys, you like, I'm a little, how do I want to say it? I'm a little easier on trades and stuff, but Michael Penix is definitely a chip, So got to look at the rest of your league and who needs a quarterback, and start working on those guys.
So, we don't have like full context of the league. We can see it all on the league sync on Keep Trade Cut, but we don't know exactly where some of these picks are. So it's easier to think about player to player. I would look at, just as like a quick glance, like I'm just kind of looking at these teams that are ranked. I assume these are actually in order of strength. It is power ranking. Okay, I need to read the whole page. Clubbing Seals is actually a good guy. Like, so this is, if you're going full, right. It's if you're going full on to contend, he's got Kupp, he's got Sutton, he's got Tyreek Hill, and he's only got Jared Goff as a quarterback. So if you can throw him, Penix for 2 of those guys, or even, you might have to throw a little bit on top to get 2 of them, but I like that idea because they're ranked 11th in the power rankings from Keep Trade Cut. They're obviously in somewhat of a rebuild. They have 2 firsts for 25. They're missing their second, so they're looking for a quarterback. It depends on where their first is, I guess. If you think they might go that way, but even still, they might still. I think you're kind of getting about as much as you can from Penix in that case.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the comment here as you were saying it. He does think clubbing seals is his biggest trade target. Like literally, as you said his name, he posted that comment. So you guys are on the same page. Is just what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Even the guy, I don't know how to read this. It starts with a $sign. Oh my Shahid. What the hell is that? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, I see it.
That guy. He's got Mike Evans. Could probably just get no, I was gonna say you could probably just get Deontay thrown in for free, but I don't think that's quite enough. You might be able to get something else back, or you know what? Actually, he might be a good trade target if you're looking to get that QB3 back because he's got Russ and Stafford.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, so you might be able to get Evans and Stafford for or something like that, depending on what the offseason brings. I know we've been saying Stafford's going to retire for like 3 years now. It seems like so.
Just real quick, my personal opinion on that is I think they go one more year because they have a really young defense and they're frisky in the playoffs and stuff like that. I think they go one more year.
I don't think he's going to retire. Like they're in the divisional round of the playoffs.
I think he's at the end of his contract, so I think he wanted more money, and the Rams told him no. So there could be something there. I don't know, but anyway,
that's a little worrisome. But
I agree with both those. The clubbing seals because they desperately need a quarterback. I mean, they're rebuilding most likely. I mean, maybe not. If he gets a good quarterback in there, he could probably contend. So you can really pitch that to him. You can potentially get a pick and, like you said, a player or whatever. I'm fine with a first and then a good starter for Penix. Here's my opinion about Penix. I think he kind of falls into that range of players where it starts with Jordan Love if you go to Keep Trade Cut rankings all the way to Dak Prescott. All those quarterbacks are low end QB1s to obviously they can't all be QB1s, but they all going to produce in that range of low end QB1 to QB2 range. And so I would really, even down tiering to a guy I don't know, I'm trying to see who has Dak Prescott.
I know. That's one thing I had a hard time with is finding. I don't know. I haven't really used this before, but there's got to be a good way to control F these players and stuff.
Yeah, where is Dak? What? Did I miss him?
Oh, he's on muscle. He's on Muscles for Bones, who's the bottom ranked team.
Okay, so anyway. Yeah. So that's someone if you can down tier Penix to Dak, get a first round pick. I would love that. I don't know if that's possible, or even just a player like a Waddle is really the only receiver I'd want, or even just another running back. And you don't have to start. I think you only have to start 2 receivers. So, just a running back like that. Although Bucky Irving's really his only running back, but something like that. Down tiering there, I'm happy to do.
He's got.
I don't think
Waddle.
you would. Yeah, I mentioned Waddle was the only receiver.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. It's the only receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy has definitely why is he holding on to Dak if he's rebuilding? It doesn't. If he's going to rebuild for a year or two. So, I don't think it's necessary to trade Penix because I do think his value could, if he comes out and has a really good first 3 games of the season, his value is going to skyrocket, So, I don't necessarily think you have to do it now. You could always hold off and kind of wait until there's some production there. I'm curious of what kind of like QB2s are on the waiver wire. If you do trade Penix, I'd be picking up like every single QB2 that's on the waiver wire and just basically hoping like one of those guys turn into your QB3. And most likely one of them will if you have 4 or 5 of them. What about?
But then you can actually see that on Keep Trade Cut. You can see the available players, and it's full of kind of backup sort of guys. That's something.
Who are some of the QBs on there
with the next guy? I mean, there's DTR, Ritter, Brissett, Andy Dalton, Trubisky, Heineke. I'm skipping over guys. I'm just kind of reading guys that are Tannehill. So I'm just thinking of, well, I did say DTR, so never mind. But I was just thinking about competent number 2 backup guys that could actually turn into a second round pick kind of thing.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor for sure, if he's out there.
He's there too.
I think he's the only, like him and Jordan Travis are the only QBs on the Jets. Well, I guess Rodgers is still there, but I would definitely be doing that. Again, with the running backs, Dobbins and Dowdle, I definitely don't mind trading those guys for second round picks in this draft or a solid wide receiver starter. If anyone valuing them as starters, which, this league's been around since 2016. He says they've been through multiple cycles of rebuild and contending. And so people are probably a little bit more sharp here, but I also don't mind like trading away Kamara or McCaffrey if I can, get multiple pieces in return and like diversifying it a little bit into picks or players. And, just kind of helping myself get a little bit younger, diversifying the asset. So I'm not all in on like, I need McCaffrey and Kamara to be, and if one of them gets hurt, I'm probably not going to win type of thing. The number 1 team, according to, Dynasty Daddy here, says they need running backs. You have Bijan and Tyrone Tracy. I don't know if you want to work out something there. They have a shit ton of picks. I'm trying to see who else. I thought there was a couple of the top teams where what kind of return would I want for Kamara, CMC? It's tough with both. I mean, CMC, I still want like multiple picks, multiple players. I still have him as like, he could be RB1 next year, and that's how I'm approaching it. And I'll take RB1 in 1 year versus like, 3 years of the RB24. So like, I still want multiple picks. How do you guys feel about CMC? Like, you still want a first and a second, or a first and a good player or something?
I don't think you're going to get that right now. I think, honestly, I don't see trading the perceived depth at this moment if you're going to try and contend. Like, I think you need to hold Rico and Dobbins. Like, I'm not trading them for seconds. I mean, my mind might change a little bit once we get closer.
Real quick to touch on that, would you trade them for seconds if there was like a legit 50-50 chance that they're not the starter next year?
Well, I think that is true. And if you're banking on trying to contend, I think you need to take they are going to be starters side, because I think there's less than a 50-50 chance. Of course, like, we don't know who's going where yet, but I think like odds are the rookie that you're going to draft there isn't the starter. Like, I think these guys have a better chance to at least start off as the starter. And McCaffrey and Kamara, they're,
that's the thing. The big thing is they're free. I would tend to agree with you if they were coming back to their teams, and we don't know that. Yeah,
which they might. I mean, they gave Dobbins, like, I think I made more money than Dobbins this year. That's not true. Mm-hmm. Like and subscribe. Send us money. But no, but I don't know. I think there's a chance they stay and they do draft a rookie even behind these guys, and I think that's honestly best case scenario, like we kind of said. Like,
these rookies are so good, though, man. I'm telling you, like, these rookies are gonna like reset the entire running back. I don't think Ashton Genty gets past the Cowboys. I don't see how Ashton Genty, if he's sitting there at 12 overall, he gets past the Cowboys. It's what Jerry Jones loves. He loves running backs. He's a star. It's going to bring attention to the Cowboys. And there's no way Rico Dowdle's keeping Ashton Genty off the field. There's just not. So I don't know. I think it's dangerous to always play the game of I'm contending. I can't trade away pieces that I think are going to be starters. Whereas you kind of want to, you want to protect yourself as well. I get it. Ideally, I don't want to trade those guys if they're going to be starters, but we just don't know. And it's really, to me, it's 50-50 because they're free agents, so I'm willing to no.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, knowing the running back depth in here, and I'm probably going to get a starter in the second round at the running back position. I'm fine with doing it. Or I can even trade that second as it gets closer to the draft and get another guy that I know for sure is going to help me. So
it's a little rough right now, given where his value is, but we didn't even talk about the idea of trading Tank Dell. If you're a contender, he's a young guy we saw a really good rookie season. Obviously last year's season didn't really help him that much, or not, didn't help him at all. Honestly, it hurt him. And you're not going to have him for probably most of next year, if he's even startable when he comes back. But he's a nice young piece you have that you could try and get something for. But the problem is his value's super deflated. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but we kind of skipped over that. I meant to mention that.
Yeah. Dad, real quick. So if someone comes to you and they say, here's the 206, give me Rico Dowdle. Are you just right now, today?
Absolutely, I would.
Okay.
I'll take my chance, and then you got to do your homework though for drafting,
Yeah.
And you'll sit there and watch a bunch of good guys go off, and then you go, oh my God, but you can get somebody. I would do that. 206, yeah.
And I see. I'm definitely not. I tend to agree with you too, Brian, about I don't want to trade these guys. I'm not looking actively to do it. I just think if I can cash out on them, I think I would. But I like the Tank Dell idea, but I don't know. What's someone going to give you? I'm not taking anything. I'm not taking a third round pick for Tank Dell. I'm just going to hold him and stuff. It's
well, would you trade him for that same 206? It seems like selling. Yeah, it seems like you're selling low on Tank Dell, based on where we had him going into last season. But at the same time, if you're trying to get something now to help your team, is that worth it?
Yeah, I mean, considering I'm a team that wants to compete, and I don't think Tank Dell is going to be helping you next year, I'm fine with it. I am I want it to be earlier, mid second, but anything lower, I'm probably not. So, and then just to circle back, Kamara and CMC, because he did ask, what would you expect? Again, both those guys, I'm expecting to be top 12 running backs next year. So that's kind of how I would sell them. I don't think you're going to get that right now, but you could get that as the season approaches. But I need at least a first round pick, for Kamara, in my opinion. But I don't think you're going to get that just because I'm contending. So I don't want to sell him for a second, maybe multiple seconds. And then CMC, I want a first plus. So we do need to move on. And Down with Fun's in our Discord. He can ask us questions. We can also circle back to this same team, and maybe review it again in the future. But we do have a hard out at getting at the top of the hour, so we need to get to the next one here. Frankie asks, how do I get my team reviewed? Frankie, I just saw that you joined our Discord, so join our Discord. There's a channel in there that says team review. Just leave a comment, a GIF, or whatever you want, and we'll kind of message you into that and kind of figure out, set that up with you, basically. So I recommend everyone doing it. Appreciate you, Down with Fun. This was our first one, so we're only going to get better at it, that's for sure. So appreciate you kind of trusting us there to do that. So into the next one. Real quick, this it is a orphan team, so it's garlic bread is life, which I agree, garlic bread is delicious. It's a 12-team superflex PPR 1-point tight end premium. So this is where the tight end premium actually starts to matter. You're getting double the amount of points for it. It's a start 10. I'm pulling it up right now, so give me a second. Real quick, I want to ask you guys, do you think we need to establish this right away? Do we think this is a 1 year and then you can compete type of situation? Or do you think this is going to be multiple years? And I'm going to pull up the team right now. You think multiple? Dad, you have a
No, I think when you say compete, I'm just going to say this, that team can make the playoffs.
No, sorry. He's talking about the next team, Dad.
Oh, the garlic bread?
Too. I don't know.
The
garlic
bread
we're talking about the
team?
garlic bread team. Yep.
Yeah, it's multiple years.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I look at it, and James, there's the link to the Discord. I'm kind of in the middle here. So he made a trade. So he has, again, it's a super flex. He's basically starting Drake May and Anthony Richardson. He has Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey as his running backs. He has Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy as his receivers. And then, you could probably start Likely and Hunter Henry. Potentially, I don't know about Henry, but, I don't know. Like, he was pretty good with May. Like, if Anthony Richardson ever turned into what we thought he was going to be, if Marvin Harrison turns into what we thought he was going to be, if Xavier Worthy keeps on improving, like, it's kind of frisky. Like, I don't know. I don't think it can make the playoffs this year, but he wants to rebuild too. So that's another thing to kind of point out. But like, I don't think it's that far off from potentially competing. So you guys both say multiple. I'm kind of like, if Richardson turns into what he's supposed to be, if Marvin Harrison becomes one of the best receivers in the NFL, I think it could be a 1 year. I do think it's a rebuild though. So he wants to move the running backs.
Sure.
Yeah, A-Rich burns me out. He did move Kamara. He moved Kamara, a 26 first, and what was the other piece for Drake May? I love the trade. Jacoby Myers, yeah. I loved the trade. It was awesome. He got Drake May. Yeah, I thought it was really good. So what's nice about this is, what's nice and not nice is he has two really good running backs. But if it's going to be a rebuild, we're going to try and move on from both of them, including Jonathan Taylor, even though he's quote unquote younger. What's nice about this is a lot of the top teams need running backs. So I think you have a lot of people to trade to, but you also have a lot of like teams that aren't so good that are good at running back, like the Goons and Bird Dog. They both are rebuilding, but let me get this stupid advertisement out of here. But they have good running backs. So anyways, overall thoughts, Brian, I'll start with you about any potential moves and what he should do with Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, who he should target and things like that.
Yeah. I think, first off, garlic bread is also life for me. It's rough because you're so depleted on picks. Like, granted, you did trade. It was the 26th first, right? That you traded for to get May. So I do like that trade. It's sad that you don't have any of your 25 picks except for a fourth, but that's okay. We're here to help. But I think Jonathan Taylor on his own, actually, you can see it right there in the rankings too. He has more perceived value right now than McCaffrey, which I think is wrong. So I would probably, and like, don't be in too much of a rush to move these guys for picks this year necessarily, because I think this is going to be a long-term thing, at least like a couple of years. So I'm not selling them for peanuts right now, just so I can get in on this draft. Especially because the draft is consensus is it's very RB heavy.
Mhm.
So unless you got to get that really good deal in order to like make it worth your while. You know, you gotta get a high end player. So I wouldn't be so desperate to move into this draft at taking a discount for these guys. Like I think they're gonna both prove their worth during the season next year, and then you'll be able to get more of a haul for them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. It's no, we're not in a hurry. If someone's going to give you like equal value, I'm fine with doing it. I think the number one thing here is you got to get your 26 first back. Like, do everything you can to get your 26 first back because one, I think it's going to be a really good draft class, and two, it just gives you that flexibility. If you do decide to tank, you know where your pick's going to be, and if I can do whatever I can, and it looks like the Love Hitman has his 26 first.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to find it, but they did, yeah.
Yeah, so he's ranked 4th according to the power rankings. He's kind of middle of the road running backs. Man, if I can I really want to try and get that as much as possible. And because I am rebuilding, I'm willing to I don't want to sell low on these guys, but I will take like a slight, maybe I should get a little bit more, but I'm not going to be, I'm not going to push it more just because I do need to trade these guys off my team. So it's not like a sell low on these guys, but it's like, I'll take a slight discount, a 10% discount just to get some flexibility from these guys.
That's a really good point, Mike. As far as getting your pick back, hit up the Love Hitman and offer him Jonathan Taylor for your 26 first back. It's 2 years out. People are usually a little more willing to trade picks further out. Granted, he doesn't have. He has a couple. I wish I could look at these picks a little bit easier. I like what
it's
you're looking at.
The 212 and the 301.
Yeah. So I think he's looking to compete somewhat. Like he's got a decently young core. But yeah, like he needs another running back, I would say.
He is Lamar Jackson. He needs to be compete. Like push that. Tell him why do you have Lamar Jackson if you're not going to try and win? And I'm not even saying he's denying he's that, but it's like, man, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Alvin Kamara. These guys you should be trying to win with. You got Brock Bowers in a tight end premium. Yeah, he said he's going to try and compete this year. So I'm doing everything I can to get my 26 first. I'll even overpay a little bit. So if you do think it's a multiple year rebuild, are you interested in actually trading off of someone like a Marvin Harrison Jr.? Or is that someone you want to hold on to, even if it's a multi-year build?
Well, I kind of hate giving away or not giving away, trading away younger guys, but I like the idea of Jonathan Taylor, or CMC, for that. And trade one of those guys, try and get yourself some draft capital. And then, McCaffrey, if we had a fantasy draft today, would CMC be a first rounder?
In redraft?
Yeah, in redraft, so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. As long as I'm in the draft, he is.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, no,
Not
I get it.
First,
and, so that means that, to me, that kind of shows his value right there and what you could trade for him and stuff. And
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. You can finish that.
That's the way I would look instead of Marvin Harrison. I'd try and keep these young guys a little longer.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman are interesting because it's a 12-team start 10. It's not particularly deep. Like depth still matters in those, but I still need top tier guys. Like it's not a start 11, 12, 13 where Worthy and Coleman are becoming more valuable. I think these guys, because they're young and they're on good teams, you could still get pretty good trades for them, especially if they go off in the playoffs. I'm definitely looking to trade them because I don't know if they're going to be difference makers in a 12-team start 10. They'll be useful pieces, but I don't know if they're going to be like that piece that pushes you over the top. And so I'm willing to be flexible with those guys. And if someone's willing to give me some good future capital and stuff like that, I'm not selling low on them at all. I need kind of equal or greater value. So like probably first round picks for these guys. Definitely for Worthy. I don't know about Coleman, but those are specific trades we could talk about. You can always message me in the Discord and stuff and what's your opinion on that. But like looking to trade these guys for like equal or lesser value, I think is not a bad idea, especially if they hit in the playoffs.
Honestly, I think a couple of things that I thought about for this team, like the running backs, the top two guys are kind of obvious. Hit up the Bijan manager. I was going to say, I'm just trying to, I don't know why I can't think. Hit up the Bijan manager, trade Algier to them for, their 2027 second or something, or take a third round pick for Algier, like sell it to them as an insurance policy. Cause honestly it is like, I'm fine with that. You're never going to start Algier unless Bijan's hurt. And if you're not competing, you might as well get something for him. He's heading into his fourth year, so it's the end of his rookie contract. I doubt they re-sign him. Sorry,
who has Bijan? Oh no, trying to look who has Bijan.
I found him earlier, but it's Purple Haze, who's kind of ranked in the middle.
So would you do the 306? Yeah. That's what he has in this year's draft. 306 for Algier.
Just take it. Or like I said, ask for a couple year out second, just to have some extra draft capital coming in. I mean, the guy's got Goff and Cousins, he's got Gibbs and Bijan. So it looks like he's looking to compete just based off of that, So, and he doesn't have draft picks in this, besides the third. So trade him, get something for that, because I don't think he's going to get anything better. Might as well get an extra dart. There was someone else. Oh, Will Levis. If anyone thinks Will Levis is anything still, like, just if you can get a second round pick for Levis, any second, just go ahead and do that too. Please,
Levis
Hunter Henry,
clipboard holder.
Yeah, Hunter Henry and Isaiah Likely also, like, Likely is still ranked as like tight end 12 or something like that. Like, I don't think you need to get the world for him, but it is tight end premium, so they definitely have value. Find the team that like the SC Goons, maybe. Pull up their roster, Mike. The SC Goons.
SC Goons. Okay. Oop, wrong one. Wrong one again.
It says they're rebuilding, but they're also decently ranked.
They have the 101, the 109, the 111, 203.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much of those. But I mean, I'm just looking at them based on like what their ranking is. You might be able to get something from those guys or for those guys.
What would you like? Would you take the 211 for Likely?
I would take the 211 for Henry. I would try and get closer to that 203 for Likely. I mean, you can always ask. I mean, the worst they're going to say is no, and you're in the same situation you're in right now. It all depends on what their value is perceived. If you can get the 203, I don't think I'm going to quite sell him for the 211 because I think you can get a little more. But, I mean, at least if he's going to offer you the 211, tell him to give you that 302 also, which is yours, actually. Garlic bread 27.
I'd probably settle on the 2. Like, if I had to, I'd probably settle on the 211.
Yeah, I absolutely had to. That's fair enough. But I think you can get a little bit more from him. Yeah. Or maybe I was gonna say maybe even find who has Mark Andrews. and then try and sell them to him. That's Bird Dog. Who looks to be in a competing mode.
He has a lot of tight ends.
Yeah, I know.
Kincaid, Kraft, Andrews. Yeah. No, all good thoughts there for sure. If you are rebuilding, what you want to do is you want to load up on running backs and quarterbacks, QB2s. Any QB2 out there. I mean, Tyson Bagent, Davis Mills, like just load up on those guys because their path to becoming relevant is a lot easier and you'll get something for them. Like let's just imagine, me and you, Brian, we made a trade. I traded you Jameis Winston, for a second round pick, like stuff like that, where it's like, I'm not going to use this guy in the future, but I can get something for him. Running back, all running back twos should definitely be rostered. I think most of them are, just looking at the best available here. Guys like Javon Baker, Greg Dortch, Kendrick Bourne, for a rebuilding team, like they're probably, you can just move on. They're probably just like roster cloggers. And I'll just like throw all the RB2s and RB3s on my roster and just hope one of them gets a path because of injury. Even tight ends, maybe like in a tight end premium like this. But yeah, definitely we're looking to trade these running backs. You want these points off your team as well if you're rebuilding, and they're going to give you points. So it's harder to tank. But don't be in a rush to do it. I still believe in Anthony Richardson in terms of fantasy being a difference maker. So I think that's a decent piece there. Dad, did you have another thought on? Oh yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, we haven't let Dad say anything for a while, like normal.
Yeah,
like sit over there in the corner. Anthony Richardson, if you can get a late first for him this year, I'd just do that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
don't know what
guy has like a 45% completion percentage or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so this is the year that we're gonna need to see Anthony Richardson, be an NFL quarterback or not. So, I mean, a full time. So,
yeah, it's just so hard because like he gives you like 7 or 8 points per game in rushing. It's just like, man, that's so nice. But yeah, like his long-term future as an NFL quarterback is not looking good. Yeah, I guess you could do that if you wanted to.
And that's where I'm coming from. I don't think he's going to be an NFL quarterback. He was a guy who needed to sit and learn, and they threw him in too early, And granted, he's young and he runs, but it's like I'm just going to cut my losses. Like you probably took him, where I know this is an orphan team, so you didn't take him, but he was taken, second 2 years ago, basically 2 draft classes ago. If you can get, the 10th pick or something, the 12th pick this year, just do that. Just cut your losses.
Yeah. Another thing to always be, and this is during the season, and you probably know this because, you guys are smart Dynasty players as well, but like obviously, like let's say you were in this team in 2024, target Rashee Rice, Brandon Ayuk during the season to those contenders and get those injured guys on your team, because they're not giving you points, so they're helping you tank, and then you're obviously getting good stuff for the future. So always be on the lookout during the season in 2025 for that type of stuff, which again, you probably already know. But yeah, too many receivers, I think, just because ultimately, like, I don't think these guys are going to be different. Like, they're really going to – if you're starting these guys, you're probably losing, right? So almost from, like – I'm not saying to just cut them, but, like, almost from Yoshibas down, like, I don't want a bunch of receivers on my team. I want a rebuilding team. I want a bunch of running backs and quarterbacks.
Which is kind of like – it sounds a little counterintuitive. But yeah, like you said, like their path to gaining value is just so much higher. But you need to keep obviously young wide receivers. Like that's how you want to build. Like you want to build through those guys. But yeah, a lot of these, especially like somewhat older guys that we haven't seen it yet, or not even older, but just, like you said, the kind of the roster clogger guys. You got to kind of identify some of those guys and try and move on. Obviously, try and get something for any of them that you can. Like even like Michael Wilson, like just get a 3rd round pick for him, which is probably where he got drafted if you can. The hard part is finding that person who wants to give that up. But it's a little tough, but it's funny because like Michael Wilson actually has, a couple of decent nothing like worth starting, but it's like, oh, maybe something's there. But yeah. We only got a couple of minutes, Mike, and we have some questions.
So real quick, I think there's an outside chance this is a 1-year rebuild, just because if Anthony Richardson and Marvin Harrison hit, like there's a path there. I don't think we could just rule out that those, obviously Marvin Harrison not, but A-Rich, there's a path for him too. Josh Allen had a 52% completion percentage his first couple years. Like I'm not saying he's going to turn into Josh Allen, but like the physical tools are there. So we do only have a couple minutes. We do have questions real quick. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And we're going to be doing these, Q&A, team reviews 2-3 times a week. So we will, be doing these and we can get your team reviewed. In order to get that, you need to join our Discord, which I see we've had several people join since then, which is great. Get in there. You can post questions. Other people will answer them. We'll give you, I'll contact you about team reviews and stuff like that. And we're also going to put together some startup leagues as well. So we're going to, start dynasty leagues with you guys. And that should be a lot of fun. And I don't know if we have time to get to those questions. So again, if you want them answered, either join us next time and we will probably answer them. There's always the option to super chat and we will get to them because we're kind of we kind of whore ourselves out for money there. So we'll answer your question if you super chat. But generally, we do answer all the questions, even if you don't. I'm not saying you have to. It's just today we were trying to get to those team reviews and we had a hard out. Hopefully in the future, we'll be a little bit more flexible with our time. I don't know if I missed anything, but we will be back again for sure next Saturday. Probably either me and one of these other guys or just me will go live during the week as well in the evening to just kind of answer questions in general. So
So I was reading I know you have to like leave, but Andrew posted in the chat asking about this year's class. He's got the 5th pick. Based on a lot of the running back hype and the couple of quarterbacks, you're probably looking at what, like the top 1 receiver possibly at number 5. You guys know the rookie class better than I do. Like, what do you?
So this year it feels like, this year it feels like from like pick 2 to pick 7, it could go. There's like 9 different players that can go there. So my early feeling is like I kind of want to move back in the draft to like pick 6, 7, 8, pick up extra capital, and then just be happy with the player that falls to me. But it's probably going to go. Obviously, it's going to go Jainty, and then maybe Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson. Those are 2 running backs. Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, 2 receivers, and then you have Shador Sanders, Cam Ward. So it's basically just best player available, in my opinion. There's a good chance that will be a running back, whether that's Omarion Hampton or Caleb Johnson. But it's a little bit early. Hopefully you're not drafting until after the NFL draft. But there's a lot of good players here, and there's a lot of like ways you can go from picks 2 to 7 or 8. So I kind of want to fall back to the end of that tier.
And it looks like you kind of need a little help all over the place, So you can't really go wrong with that, whoever that best player available is. I know Mike and Dad will be doing the rookie previews.
Rookie review.
Yeah, rookie reviews. And as soon as Sleeper adds rookies to the database, we're going to be doing live rookie mock drafts and getting you guys in those, so it's not just us talking. So we'll fill out, you join us in a live show, and then we'll do rookie mock drafts and just, for different settings and all of that, and just kind of repetition after repetition and kind of see how they go. We'll be doing that all the way through like May, essentially. I think Sleeper adds them to the database pretty soon. I want to say it was before the Super Bowl last year. So hopefully we can start getting that going a little bit. So the way to join us again for those, well, one, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. We don't have necessarily a set schedule, but we try to keep it, we'll try to keep it as a set schedule. And then join the Discord. I'll always post them there when we're going live, and that's how you'll get into those. So, and we will answer questions in the Discord. I do have to leave, unfortunately, guys, but appreciate everyone stopping in. We had good, consistent amount of viewers, and just be on the lookout for these. We'll be doing these a lot. So, and hopefully the team reviews went okay.
Yeah. Frankie and Oscar, I saw your questions. Just send it to us on the Discord channel, and we'll get those answered for you.
Yep, indeed. So appreciate everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Go Lions. Go Texans. Go Bills, and go Rams. That's who I'm rooting for. So we'll see everyone then.